We see a huge core break in the lead position. The last Golisopod did run Night Slash. We tried to catch a Night Slash onto Drapion unsuccessfully. Well, that didn't go well. Let's try calling the bait. Welcome back to the channel. Towards the end of last season, Shadow Malamar got released in the world of Pokemon Go, and this Pokemon was an absolute monster, completely broken, overpowered in both the Great and the Ultra League. It helped numerous trainers reach their goals last season, including myself personally. I hit Legend rank with Shadow Malamar in the Great League. This season, it's been reported missing in action due to the double buff to bug moves of Fury Cutter and Bug Bite respectively. Whilst Malamar does have more counters running around, the fact that it's not used whatsoever this season is pretty ridiculous, to be honest. Everyone's hyping up both Forretress and Scizor, and they have the exact same issue that Malamar does, a double weakness, and that is the fire. Yeah, Fury Cutter and Bug Bites hurt, but trust me, a Scizor survives all of about 2 Incinerates and people still use that. Today, we're going with an ABB team, a completely busted core of Malamar and Tentacruel, and I'm just going to say how it is, this core is just as powerful, just as busted as it was last season. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, I lead Shadow Malamar into Verizian, and we are off to a good start, no bug type in sight. So what I like to do here, as I'm on an ABB team, Malamar's on the team to beat the ground types. Firstly, I'm going to bank a boatload of energy, and I'm going to look to catch a charge move onto Drapion, looking to bait out any potential ground type. If Drapion can bait out the opponent's best poison type counter, Tentacruel should clean house in the back. Whilst we're on the subject of Tentacruel, I've seen so many people running Poison Sting Tentacruel in the Ultra League. Whilst I do like Poison Sting, obviously, as my Drapion's using it, I'm going to put it like this. If Drapion acts as the Acid, you better believe I'd be TMing over to it. Acid just gives you the perfect combination of quick energy generation and some actual fast move pressure. So far, the team working as intended. As out comes Lapras. Lapras, of course, something Tentacruel isn't going to like too much. I send out Malamar, look to deny Lapras' energy, firing off the foul play, forced to Protect Shield. I can match Protect Shield, fully sideway farm down. I'm going to have a whole heap of residual energy good to go. The opponent stays in, do concede that farm down, and Malamar leaves completely loaded. Back out comes Verizian. I could of course throw the superpower, or could just bank 100 energy and send out Tentacruel to catch the Sacred Sword they threw the first time. Sacred Sword doesn't do much of anything, and out comes Steelix. Steelix opting for Dragon Tail as opposed to Thunderfang, which is certainly advantageous for me. The opponent throw the Psychic Fangs, we tank the damage, 1 Acid and the Scald, and the opponent find himself between a rock and a hard place. They really can pick their poison. We've got super effective charge moves here, there, and every fucking where. Tentacruel outpaces to that next Scald. Scald goes unshielded. Of course, we could Poison Jab farm down, but we're going to make the world's most pointless catch, saving 1 shield for next season. With all these bugs running around, Malamar's going to need all the shields it can get. We Poison Jab farm down and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see the Panda Bear in the lead position. A lot of people like to farm up to the close combat and go for the Night Slash bait. We attempt to catch a Night Slash bait onto Drapion, but fair play to this opponent, they full send. Drapion able to tank the neutral close combat, and out comes Florges. This isn't a bad spot to be in, to be honest. The opponent is going to need to disarm my voice to remove me from the field of play. If they go for the Trailblaze, which they do, Drapion's going to hang on and reach 1 further Aqua Tail. This Aqua Tail won't be lethal, but does put them in a range where we can send out Big Squidward and look to get ahead in energy. I've already got a charge move banked on Malamar, both Foul Play and Superpower. Cost 40 energy, so both are banked and ready to go should I need them at a later point. We send out Tentacruel, tank the Trailblaze, commit to that Poison Jab farm down, and out comes Gator. Gator going to be greeted with the Scald, while Scald is resisted. It does some decent chip damage. I think here I should always wait for the opponent to throw. However, I aggressively send out Malamar and look to get ahead on yet further energy. The opponent fire off the Hydro Cannon, then pivot out into the Panda Bear. The opponent's got 2 shields. I think they're kind of obliged to shield this, but we YOLO the superpower regardless. The first superpower forces the opponent's first Protect Shield once again, full sending the next one. And I think I've actually found my own lose con. I've double debuffed my own defense, meaning the opponent can just fire off a Night Slash and remove me from the field of play. Tentacruel now needs to clean up. Of course, I'm not going to shield the first move, as if they get the boost, the second Night Slash would do more. The opponent recognises I'm not going to shield, full send the close combat, and now Tentacruel is rapidly running out of HP. I'm going to shield this move up, I'm going to undertap my Scald, anticipating Gator re-entering the arena and looking for the snipe. The opponent does exactly that, but Scald unfortunately doesn't get the job done. We get Shadow Claw farm down, and we take somewhat of a heartbreaking defeat. Definitely a win con there, but Jamie Finn didn't play the best. Heading into the next battle, we see another fighter in the lead position, this one objectively better than the last one. If they farmed up to the close combat, I was going to try and catch the inevitable Rage Fist bait onto Drapion, but that actually went straight Rage Fist, so instead I bank a bucket load of energy and catch the next Rage Fist onto Drapion, even boosted. It doesn't do much of anything. Here you can see I paused, ensuring the opponent didn't catch my Aqua Tail. I was waiting for the Karate Chop to start. It did not, and out comes Lapras. The composure and discipline there meant I was able to throw the correct charge move, and not only that, we've actually baited out Lapras again, so Tentacruel doesn't have to see it further down the line. Whenever I showcase my own battles, these are the order that I played them in, so you can see I'm pretty annoyed at how poorly I played the last battle. But I think this brings value to the channel, because of course I could just show you all the better battles right at the start. However, what would anyone learn from that? I think the learning part is me figuring out the team and talking through some of my mistakes. Out comes PV Poke's #1 ranked pick, Bellibolt. Bellibolt is an electric type, however they're not using an electric type quick move, and we're in the 2-shield scenario. My stab acids are outpacing the pathetic Sucker Punches, and Sucker Punch is supposed to be the best 2-turn quick move in the game. We fire off the Skull, we're able to get the attack drop, meaning I'm willing to tank this charge move. Now Malamar can close the show should I need it to. Again, we pause, ensuring no catch attempt is made. Skull will be landed on its intended target, force the opponent's first Protect Shield quick switch back into Malamar, not wanting to concede a farm down. I fire off the foul play goes unshielded. The opponent looks to reach a charge move, they're able to get there, but Malamar, I could shield, I could let it go. I think either Pokemon's going to be able to close the show. Back out comes Primeape, going to fire off a Rage Fist. Rage Fist will remove me from the field of play, and in a weird turn of events, it's my opponent, not Jamie Finn, that will be saving 1 shield for next season as 1 acid knocks out Bellibolt, and we will be emerging victorious. Heading into the next battle, Algorithm anyone, what the heck is shiny Gardevoir doing on my screen? We say switch into Drapion, which of course is our soft counter, despite being a poison type. The opponent sends out Greninja, and this works fine for me. The opponent throw the Hydro Cannon. We're going to 1 and throw the first crunch, 1 and throw the second crunch. You can see even resisted crunch does a lot of damage because Greninja is an insanely glassy Pokemon. The second crunch actually forces a Protect Shield. Can the opponent Water Shriek and farm me down? It looks like the answer to that is no. The opponent is going to play it safe and fire off the Night Slash. Night Slash removes me from the field of play, and I'm just going to send out the big squid and look to get a huge energy lead. Tentacruel going to be pretty unfazed by a Night Slash. Night Slash does some chip damage, but nothing really to fear. Tentacruel gets the farm down, leaving with the Scold. Whatever's in the back didn't want that work, and the opponent concedes the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Mew in the lead position. I thought, what a cool pick. And then you're going to see the opponent sends out Diancie. I'm like, holy moly, is this some kind of triple mythical team? I'm going to fire off the Superpower. Superpower hits for neutral and then send out Drapion. I'll be honest, I have zero idea who wins CMP. Who's ever seen this Pokemon in the Go Battle League, honestly? Apparently they've got a higher attack than me. We tank the Power Gem. As I played the CMPs I didn't win, I'm actually going to undercharge this move and look to Poison Sting farm down. Like this should force Mew to dump its energy, and it does exactly that. Most Mew should run Psyshock, and you can see as I'm not paying attention, I actually survived this. I didn't realise I could have got off the Aqua Tail. Getting off the Aqua Tail would have put him into foul play range. So once again, Jamie Finn is an absolute potato. I tell you all the time, I'm definitely washed up. We're able to land the foul play. It looks like the opponent happy to 2-shield whatever's in the back. The opponent YOLO the Wild Charge. I send out Tentacruel, looking to get an energy lead, and out comes Marshadow. What a cool team from this opponent. Triple mythical. You absolutely love to see it. Marshadow invests the Protect Shield, blocking up the first Scold. These Sucker Punches are actually tearing through my HP. Look at the difference an actual Dark type, using a Dark type move makes, as opposed to that dumbass Bellibolt that everyone's hyping up. The recommended moveset for this thing is Close Combat and Ice Punch. That would be the reason I've had to fire off a Close Combat there, as a non-stab Ice Punch might not have knocked out. Malamar lands the foul play on its intended target. Back out comes Mew. We're able to resist, did Psywave farm down and take that game. But shout out that opponent, really love the spice, very cool team. We managed to go 4-1 in the first set. Arguably should have been a 5-0, but we definitely didn't play particularly well in one of them battles. In the next battle, finally, we see the bug type that Malamar's apparently running scared of. We say switch into Drapion and out comes Guzzlord. Well, let's be honest, things aren't looking fantastic. Well, at least on the surface they're not. But this clever ABB team is built to deal with things like that. We've got 2 good answers to bug types in the back. Drapion is my soft counter, whereas Tentacruel is the hard counter. So if Drapion manages to bait out the opponent's best poison type counter, Tentacruel might be able to sweep the back line. We're actually able to force ourselves a shield advantage here as well, giving Tentacruel yet another advantage. We send back out Malamar, we're just going to use it as the damage sponge. The opponent fire off the crunch, and of course to get the defense drop. Malamar going to fire off the foul play immediately. Once this connects, it is big Squidworth time. In Tentacruel, I believe we pivot into Tentacruel, and out comes a Shadow Mark. This is very, very playable. Mark has access to Thunder Punch. I've still got 2 shield, and that is exactly where I'm going to invest my shields. Despite getting the attack drop, a Thunder Punch will do more than a resisted charge move from Golisopod, especially from the Shadow variant. And this is where you're going to see why Acid is the way to go. If we're on Poison Sting, we are never ever farming this muck down. However, Acid, applying just enough fast move pressure to get the perfect farm down. We leave at 100 energy. Golisopod smartly fires off before we essentially debuff him. Aqua Jet doesn't do much of anything. Tentacruel at the double Scald. The first Scald goes unshielded. Tentacruel gonna fire off the second Scald. The opponent still with a shield to hide behind. Not willing to shield here. We're gonna farm up. We tried to catch the charge onto Malamar unsuccessfully, but Malamar sideways farms down Golisopod and we take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see yet another Golisopod in the lead position. I could have actually stayed in to check the quick move. This one is on Shadow Claw. However, despite this, we do safe switch into Drapion as we are looking to bait out the opponent's best poison type counter. They send out Belly Bolt, which definitely isn't a Drapion answer. The Sucker Punches are non-stab and resisted, and we're going to land back-to-back crunches. You can see there, we trap the opponent into the CMP type. Belly Bolt users love to shield, and we do obtain ourselves that shield advantage in the mid-game matchup. Drapion, thanks for your contribution, buddy. You've done your job, and I am going to elect to let you go down. We're going to send back out Malamar. As they've buffed up their defense, I don't think a foul play will quite be lethal. I'm just going to tank one charge move here, massively over farm, and have residual energy to threaten that returning Golisopod. As they're on Shadow Claw, the fast move pressure isn't all that threatening. You can see here, again, I'm not entirely sure if the foul play knocks out, so I play it safe, fire off the superpower, I'm going to bank a charge move and send out the big squid. For the second consecutive battle, I've led Malamar into Golisopod, but I am very much in the driver's seat as Tentacruel completely core breaks both the lead and the third. So in this matchup, if you're the Golisopod user, you should be throwing Aqua Jets. Whilst Aqua Jet and Exeter both cost 40 energy, Exeter does 65 damage, whereas Aqua Jet does do 70, meaning it's more energy efficient and does do more damage overall. Tentacruel commits 1 Protect Shield, gets the perfect farm down, leaving very close to 100 energy. Back out comes Skeledirge, 2 poison jabs. Acids, I should say. Bloody hell, it's going to take some adjustment. Getting used to be on an acid. 2 further acids. And the next Scald lands. The opponent has no Protect Shields. They're going to be forced to throw here. There's likely a Torch Song, vamping up their attack. I've actually got a foul play banked. However, I'm confident I survive 1 Incinerate. And the quickest way to win this battle is Sideway farming down. A bit risky, but I'm here for a good time. Not a long time. And I did manage to save 10 seconds of my life. Heading into the next battle. We see Daddy Golurk in the lead position. This is certainly where the team wants to see it, or at least when shields are in play. If shields are down, both Drapion and Tentacruel can definitely handle Golurk, as this thing is bloody glassy. A crunch almost knocks him out, and a skull will have the same effect. We force the first Protect Shield, match Protect Shield, blocking up the Shadow Punch. The opponent then pivots out into Licky, far too thicky. They go straight for a Body Slam. Body Slam definitely isn't KOing. I'm going to farm up 2 double charge moves. I'm going to YOLO a superpower at Licky, far too thicky, bank a foul play, and pivot into Drapion. Whilst Golurk is a terrifying Pokemon from a background, and now if I overfarm, we can certainly threaten that Golurk when it comes back in. So we're going to tank the Body Slam, throw 4 Poison Stings, ensuring I'm only 1 Poison Sting off the crunch, and the opponent doesn't have a Dynamic Punch loaded yet. So they're kind of in a tough position. They're either forced to lose Golurk or give up the final Protect Shield. Crunch, incoming crunch, force the opponent all shields down. We're actually still outside of Shadow Punch range as well. If the opponent makes a mistake in Shadow Punch, I'm just going to under-tap the Aqua Tail, but no such luck. The opponent recognised Shadow Punch wouldn't get the job done, and they force on the Dynamic Punch to remove me from the field of play. We see Golurk remains on the screen. Malamar will be claiming its victim. Foul play removes them from the field of play. We pivot into Tentacruel, and out comes Greedent. Win cons at this point for the opponent are essentially me having a heart attack. Sorry. Greedent certainly isn't it anymore. The opponent boosts up their attack with the Trailblaze, but Trailblaze non-stab. Greedent not really known for his attack stat. If the opponent continued to stay, and I guess I'm just going to give him the Blizzard to the face, I'm going to shield, not that I really need to, trying to incline the opponent to top left. The opponent finally recognises over, and they do concede the match. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Bellybolt in the lead position. A type neutral matchup. We do want to try and pivot out and save Malamar, however I don't really want to rely on Tentacruel with this down the road. The opponent, like 99.9% of Bellybolt users, opts to shield the first move, fire off the Parabolic Charge, vamping up their defense. Superpower does hit harder, so I'm going to Superpower and then dip into Drapion, looking to bait out the best Poison type counter. The opponent opting to stay in, going for some chip into action, firing off 1 further Parabolic Charge. If they continue to stay in, I'm just going to throw on CMP. The opponent actually then pivots out into Tentacruel. Let's see what quick move they're on. It looks like this opponent, much like me, is opting for Acid. Now Tentacruel's got 3 viable quick moves. It's important that you do recognise what quick moves on Acid. They're 766 to these skulls. Poison Sting, 665, Old Wish Cash counts, and obviously Poison Jabs, the counts you're probably already familiar with. I think an argument definitely could have been made that I should have shielded Drapion, as I would have been able to just outpace or just continue to try on CMP. However, I'm actually going to send out Tentacruel, commit to the full Acid farm down. If this is their best Poison type counter, Tentacruel should be good against whatever's in the back. I'm actually going to shield here, so I've got a horrible habit of saving shields for next season, so I might as well shield something. Tentacruel leaves at like 100 energy, back out comes Belly Bolt. There's no point continuing to overfarm. I won't get any energy, so we fire off the skulls, removing them from the field of play, and out comes Golisopod. It takes 10 to reach the first move. We tried to catch on Malamar, but all I actually do is feed him free energy. Has that failed catch cost me this battle? Another mistake I make, whilst everything Golisopod throws is going to be resisted. I've got a shield, and I definitely should shield the first move, and then I should throw the Scald instantly, fishing for the debuff, lowering the one-turn Fury Cutter damage, and the subsequent move incoming. Can we reach the double Scald? We actually reach it, but the Fury Cutter knocks me out, and this one does end in defeat. GG's to that opponent. It's kind of crazy that I had a ridiculously positive day. I think I went like 19 and 6, and I think quite a lot of the losses are actually user error and me not playing optimally, which kind of tells you everything you need to know about this very busted core. In the next battle, we saw Verizian in the lead. Whenever we see Verizian in the lead, we're normally the ones looking to catch a charge move, the opponent actually chip and then dip into Belly Bolt. We're going to fire off the superpower to soften this thing up and then get into Drapion. Drapion does have the pacing advantage in this matchup, which taking only 10 turns to each of these crunches, whereas they alternate between 14 and 12. The opponent invests to protect shield, but still get outpaced to the next crunch. I doubt they double shields. As long as this crunch lands, I think Drapion's done its job, and I'm just going to let it go down. Even though they've got a double buffed up defense, I still believe I can Psywave farm down, as they're insanely low, and the one-turn quick move is still going to chunk. Malamar looks for the Psywave farm down, able to get it. The opponent reluctant send Verizian back into the arena. Out comes Skeledirge. We fire off the foul play. Foul play forces the final protect shield. Back out comes Verizian. We show him big Tentacruel, and we all know how this one's going to end. Skeledirge doesn't have a move banked, and even though this Verizian, like most are, is on Leaf Blade, not all that threatening. The opponent recognises over, and they concede the match. In the next battle, we see Primeape in the lead position. The opponent pivots into Corviknight, and I haven't really got a great response for this thing. We've got Psychic type quick move Psywave, are resisted by the Steel type in, and we've got 2 Poison types hitting for double resisted with Poison Sting and Acid respectively. Whilst Corviknight is somewhat tricky for the team, the entire team does alright into Primeape. Drapion is my worst response. The opponent actually shielded the superpower, so we're going to send out Drapion and just look to absorb some hits. Potentially the opponent will pivot back out into Primeape, which is fine for me. I am quite worried they're going to catch a crunch, but it's not like you can pause one turn versus one turn. So we do throw the crunch and it does land on its intended target. You can see with a bit of a team effort, we've actually managed to get this Corviknight quite low. I know I survived the move, but can we get off the Aqua Tail? Unfortunately, we cannot. I'm not going to reveal my third yet. I'm going to send out Malamar. Look for the Psywave farm down. The opponent banks some energy, send Primeape back into the arena. We throw the superpower and then send out the big squid. After landing the superpower, they're only going to reach 1 Rage Fist, meaning Tentacruel not only is going to leave with energy, but it's only going to have to tank 1 move, meaning it remains fairly healthy too. I have got an energy lead, but the opponent reveals they've got Bronze on in the back, which of course will be running Side Shot, which is certainly not what Tentacruel wants to see. These acids are double resisted, and I cannot even see the health bar budging. They're literally doing 1 damage, and Bronze on is pretty thick. The opponent tries to make a catch onto Corviknight, catch attempt unsuccessful for them, but stay in school, kids, and learn to count. We're the ones making the catch. But in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have made that catch. We could have definitely done with the energy on Malamar, but let's see if it works out for me. We fire off the Scald. This absolute savage of an opponent calls it. Can we acid farm down? I need the acid to knock out, as they are now doubled up. Does the acid knock out? No, it does not. And this one does end in heartbreaking defeat. Was the catch necessary? Certainly not. But ask yourself, are you not entertained? Heading into the next battle. Honestly, some people take this game far too seriously, whereas I think I actually battle just for entertainment purpose only. We see Jellicent in the lead position. I tried to throw 14 sideways, and like an absolute potato, end up throwing on charge attack priority, but thankfully the opponent didn't take the extra. I invest to protect shield, and I get bubble beam baited. Come on, man. Shielding a bubble beam is like the worst feeling in the world. We fire off the next foul play, forcing our shield back, and then we're going to put the Stamp of Authority, catching the likely Shadow Ball onto Drapion. The opponent then answers my Drapion Save Switch with the big fat Walrus. Walrus going to be greeted with the Crunch. We're outside of Icicle Sphere range, although the opponent probably Icicle Sphere and look for the Powder Snow Farm down after. Crunch now only has a 20% debuff chance. I believe I've got like none to this point. Not that I'm really paying all that much attention. But as we didn't debuff in this matchup specifically, the next Crunch wouldn't knock out, although the opponent does invest that Protect Shield. Hopefully the opponent can't count. We're going to get knocked out with that Powder Snow as we fire off the Aqua Tail and the opponent Stone Cold no shield. We send out Malamar. The opponent actually YOLO the Earthquake, so I'm glad I didn't sound out Tentacruel, hoping they instantly threw an Icicle Sphere. Out comes Umbreon. Man, this team's crazy. Who runs Umbreon in 2025, honestly? This matchup's essentially pretty slow and pretty boring to a very bulky Pokemon slugging it out. Although Tentacruel, pretty favoured to be honest. Acid, objectively better than Snarl. You can see even though Umbreon has like 10 bazillion HP, these Acids are really starting to chunk. Scald wouldn't get the job done. We're just going to YOLO the Blizzard. Blizzard gets Umbreon low, leaving him on fractional HP. The trade-off for that 2 bazillion HP stat is they really do hit like a wet noodle. We're not going to shield at the foul play. The opponent not wanting to see the farm down. Send out Walrein. Tentacruel looking for the one shield. Full acid farm down. I just need to make sure my charge move lands on its intended target, which of course is Jellicent. The opponent sends out Umbreon. Hope I'm instantly throwing. I do not. And we BM Blizzard them to their face. That's what you deserve for bubble beaming me earlier. But GG's regardless. What is going on with my voice? In the next battle, we see a blast from the past. Tapu Fini. We're going to bank a charge move and then make the pivot into Drapion. Looks like the opponent wants to soften me up. Firing off the Nature's Madness, and then they send out Annihilate. Quite a smart Nature's Madness, to be honest. They likely can just fully counter farm me down before I reach the second charge move. They shield the Crunch, and they do exactly that. I think this is why it's always nice to have energy banked on your lead Pokemon. The opponent goes straight for a Rage Fist. I'm not going to shield the first one, although it does do quite a lot, to be honest. Shadow and Shadow Crime. I'm hoping I've Psywaved them into a range where this Foul Play actually knocks them out. Foul Play, to my surprise, goes shielded. Malamar already the next one. Is this foul play enough to knock out? Almost. A couple more sideways, get the job done. And we've now got a 2-0 shield advantage. We send out Tentacruel. Hello, trainer. Hello. The opponent opting to stay in. What the heck is in the back that you're staying in this matchup? The opponent fire off the Nature's Madness. Once again debuffing me, and out comes Skeledirge. Oh, say it ain't so, trainer. The first gold almost knocks him out. The second certainly would get the job done, and the opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, we see a non-shadow Drapion on the lead position. The non-shadow can easily survive a superpower. We're going to YOLO it here, looking to do some chip into action and then get ourselves into the mirror match. The opponent looks to bank 100 energy before sending out a Alolan Sandslash. I think there the opponent should have definitely looked to chip me, because the issue the opponent's got is that the Shadow Claw variant and one Drill Run just isn't going to get the job done. Kind of a bit of a mad team composition from the opponent as well. ABA weak to ground, or specifically ABA weak to them very annoying Mud Slappers. The opponent fire off the Drill Run, shield my Crunch, but we're already doubled up. The opponent's going to have a near impossible task of trying to Shadow Claw farm me down. We're able to get Sandslash on fractional HP. Ice Punch picks up the knockout. I'm just going to send out Malamar. I'm going to tank whatever they throw and look to Psywave farm them down. After Psywaving down, we should have another superpower good to go. Back out comes Drapion, and the opponent still isn't throwing. I'm not entirely sure what they're farming up to. Last time I checked, 100 energy was the most you could hold. We save Malamar, make the catch onto Tentacruel. The opponent actually went for the Aqua Tail bait, which is huge for me. I'm never shielding the first move anyway, as of course Crunch. Now a lower defense drop chance, but of course you don't want to shield just in case they do get that 2 out of 10 chance. We're going to shield at the next Crunch. The opponent continues to stay in. We pause. Ensure to see the Poison Sting and make sure this Scald lands on its intended target. Down goes Drapion and out comes Steelix. Poor old Steelix can pick its poison, but super effective Scald or super effective superpower. We land the Scald, pivot into Malamar, reaching the superpower. High Steelix, by Steelix. Steelix might be pretty thick, but spent about 10 seconds on my screen and we take that game. They were not even ABA weak to ground. That was ABC weak to ground. That team was completely mad. In the next battle, we see Gator in the lead position. The opponent actually YOLO'd the Crunch, which is very nice to catch it on Drapion, as Crunch, of course, is resisted, as Dark does resist itself. The not so angry alligator this time does fire off the Hydro Cannon. Of course, the Shadow Gator is the only angry alligator. We pause again, ensuring the Crunch lands on its intended target. We do reach the Aqua Tail as well, and the opponent actually shields here, which is kind of nice for me. If the opponent was willing to shield, they probably should have shielded the crunch. If they're looking to Shadow Claw farm me down, we send out Tentacruel and out comes Corviknight. We are definitely looking for some redemption, as last time we did lose to this thing. Tentacruel fires off the Scald. We're then able to pivot, making the catch back onto Malamar. Whenever I read like comment sections, of course, I'm quite responsive to my own comment section, but if I'm watching someone else's video, one of my favourite comments is, "This Pokemon says hi." There's like 1,000 Pokemon in the world of Pokemon Go, so even if you're on like PvPoke's top 3, some absolute nonsense try-hard meta team, you're always going to find core breakers. Corviknight, problematic for my team, but as a team effort, you can overcome it. Out comes Skeledirge, we fire off the foul play, forcing the final Protect Shield and pivot into the Squid rather than concede a farm down. I've got 2 shields. The reason I no-shield this is firstly, Shadow Ball won't knock me out, and secondly, if they Torch Songed, I would have won on the spot. Back out comes Gator. I'm going to shoot at the Hydro Cannon, Acid farm down, back out comes Skeledirge, 2 Acids and the Charge Move, optimal fast move timing. Scald almost picks up the 1-hit KO. We're going to resist it, Acid farm down a Ghost type and take that game. Speaking of core breakers, Gliscor, this season on Fury Cut, without a doubt the most problematic Pokemon for the team. The last one I saw was on Night Slash. We looked to catch Night Slash onto Drapion, that fails. Step 2, we look to call the bait, and that goes even worse. Well, this battle's going brilliantly. The opponent's now seen my full team, and they probably realise that Gliscor is very good into the entirety of the team. The opponent then looks to make a catch onto Zapdos, but Scald does ridiculous damage. We get the attack drop, and they're only going to reach a Drill Peck. We're going to tank the Drill Peck, Shadow and Shadow Crown debuffed. It still does decent damage, but we do leave with the Scald. I've used a lot of Gliscor, especially in the early seasons. One of the first ever Shadow Pokemon I built, and I know I lose CMP to it, so I'm going to take my extra Poison Jab. I shield in case an Aerial Ace, and they are actually on Night Slash. It would have been nice if I'd have caught it, but it wasn't meant to be. We fire off the Scald, forcing our shield back. We then pivot into Malamar. Out comes Heliolisk. I reckon the opponent's saving that final Protect Shield. For Gliscor, we land the Superpower through the protection. The question now becomes, can we reach double foul play with a debuff defense? The first one, forced to Protect Shield. Absolutely we cannot. We get absolutely catastrophically farmed down. We can't shield this move in case they boost. Night Slash gets me low. We're unable to reach the charge move, and that battle actually was kind of close in the end, despite getting nuked right in the opening matchup. Heading into the next battle. The return of the Golisopod leader, apparently Golisopod is how it's pronounced, but that sounds weird. So we're going with Golisopod. We throw 9 sideways, then pivot into Drapion. The reason I didn't bank a charge move there is if we catch without sneaking, the opponent can just stay in and continually outpace me. Well, actually pace at the same speed, but they've got the higher attack. Out comes Typhlosion. I'm thinking they're not Shadow. We might survive a Thunder Punch. Come on, Drapion, buddy. Rank 1. I spent 650,000 Stardust on you, and you really let me down there. I've commented a lot on stuff that I've done wrong in today's video. I'll try and be educational. I think this opponent's made a huge mistake not even committing to the Blast Burn. If you commit to the Blast Burn, you can do one or two things. You can force my energy earlier. Or secondly, if I continue to farm up, you can pressure a shield. Like this. This Malamar energy's kind of got out of hand. I'm able to not only knock out Typhlosion, I can chip the returning Golisopod. And with Greninja in the back, this one, it's pretty straightforward from here. With 2 shields intact, even a boost ain't saving my opponent. Because if they boost, I could just start shielding. As they haven't boosted, I am not shielding anything. We're going to start unleashing the Skulls of the opponent. Choose to invest the protection on Greninja, but we can one and throw the next Scald. This Scald won't be lethal, but the opponent is one Water Shrieking off the next move, so we're able to Acid Farm down before they get there. Back out comes Golisopod. The opponent recognises the game's over, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Goodra in the lead position. So this opponent messaged me on Twitter saying GG. So firstly, GG's buddy. And secondly, they said, what could have you done differently to change the outcome of this battle? So I think they should at least farm up to a big move, as Aquatail isn't all that threatening. If I was run Goodra, I'd definitely look to fake a Draco. I think here as well, you possibly could have banked the charge move, as the catch wasn't the cleanest. Although as I say that, as you're going to send out a Gator, it kind of makes sense to chip, because an Aquatail does now put me in a range where one singular Hydro Cannon will knock me out. I actually remember this battle. So what I think you did wrong is coming up shortly. So from my perspective, if this is your best poison type counter, I'm just going to send out the big squid and look to get a huge energy lead. I think you possibly got a win con in this battle, to be honest, because you can see the Shadow Claws and one Hydro Cannon is going to put me in a range where one move from your third Pokemon is going to knock me out. You've sent out Goodra after dumping your energy, and all that's done is fed me free energy. I'm now loaded at 100 energy. Of course, with a fire type in the back, you don't really want to tank 100 energy off a water Pokemon. We fire off back-to-back Skulls. We're then going to pivot into Malamar, going for the wham bam combo play, serving up the Big Mac and the fries. Superpower to my surprise actually isn't quite lethal, but this one is going to end in victory. Perhaps just a bit of a difficult team comp for you, but GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadow and Shadowcron with Malamar staring down Dusknoir. A decent lead for me. The opponent pivots out into arguably even worse matchup, sending out Primate. We're going to bank a charge move and then send in the big squid. Primate, specifically the Shadow variant, is my favourite Pokemon to use in Ultra League, but this is such a miserable spot if you're the Primate user. Tentacruel is just so bloody bulky. Mine's actually underleveled. It still requires one further power up. I've been walking it forever and we're still like 4 XL short. Looks like my opponent wants to flip switch, but I don't need switch advantage. I actually think Drapion is even better into Dusknoir than Malamar is. Malamar able to Psywave, farm down, leaving with even more energy. The opponent thinking about what to send out. Dusknoir re-enters the arena. The opponent all down 1 Protect Shield. Choose to burn the final. The opponent then tries to catch a foul play onto Tinkaton, and all they're actually going to catch is the superpower to the face. Superpower hits for neutral. Tinkaton insanely fixed, so to be honest, it didn't actually do any meaningful damage, but certainly put in a range where Drapion up 2 shields is easily going to handle this stupid Stinky Tinky. Yes, I do call this Pokemon Stinky Tinky. It's boring, it's bulky, it's slow. Pretty good into my team, but not down 2 Protect Shields. Drapion able to land back-to-back Aqua Tails. Here the opponent farm up to the Play Rough, while Bulldoze is super effective at Play Rough, would do more. Drapion able to Poison Sting, farm down stupid Stinky Tinky. Back out comes Dusknoir, and we clutch up yet another 2 shield flex. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, we see Heliolisk in the lead position, interestingly running Mud Slap. Of course, they're a parabolic charge user, so this isn't even a bait, it's always going shielded, as the opponent's going to look to buff up their defense. This thing's got a monstrous attack stat, so I'm going to shield this move, as I don't want to get Mud Slap farmed down afterwards. I don't know what it is of one-turn moves. Why do I always overtap? We end up playing to CMP, but it's only a breaking swipe, which we will survive. I'm going to throw the foul play. Foul play won't be lethal. We might be able to side away, farm down afterwards. The opponent save Heliolisk on fractional HP, pivot into the balloon. We bank a charge move and get into Drapion. Drapion going to release the crunch before we inevitably get debuffed, and we're sitting in quite a nice spot. Unpopular opinion, Ghosts that learn both Astonish and Hex, I think are better on Hex. Because when you're in these awful matchups, you pace a lot quicker, get into more charge moves. This just allows me to overfarm, fire off the crunch, guaranteeing the knockout. Then when Heliolisk returns, I can just throw 2 and the Aqua Tail. So unless the opponent's shields have only took 1 Mud Slap. Down goes Heliolisk, out comes Samurott. We're going to pace at the same speed to the crunch and Hydro Cannon respectively. Samurott with an objectively higher attack, so we bank the crunch and get out into Tentacruel. This is going to be the final battle of today's video. And let me tell you, if you invested in Malamar last season, don't be sad. This thing is still a powerhouse. Pair it up with a couple of poison types in the back and you are in for a good time. Went on a pretty insane run. I think I went 4-1, 4-1, 3-2, 4-1, 5-0. So what does that equal? 20 and 5 or maybe 19 and 6. It's currently like midnight and my brain is not braining. But regardless, this team is phenomenally strong. And to be honest, the first actual team that I've run this season that I intended to win with, or at least makes sense to win. We've run so much nonsense this season. But to be honest, I like nonsense. I'm not really all into try-hard teams. But if you're looking for one, give this one a try for yourself. Whilst this team is ridiculously strong, I wouldn't really recommend trying a team like this early in the season. I think the early part of the season, it should be for having fun and trying to practice, getting better at the game. I think for me personally, running a team like this, you can see from my gameplay, it wasn't the cleanest day and I wasn't really paying that much attention. When I run these really powerful meta Pokemon, like so many matches ending in a 2 shield flex, just tells you when you're using powerful stuff, you don't really have to try that hard to win. If you compare this gameplay to the gameplay we posted the other day when I was using Metagross and Metang together, it was objectively better because I was really locked in and actually trying hard. But it is what it is. If meta is your thing, you want a powerful team, look no further. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button if you're new. Consider subscribing if you like your battles featured on my channel. A link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.